Are you ready?
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Parishscope. This is the podcast that serves kind of as an arm of the newsletter, the Parishscope for St. John Sam Prairie. I'm Pastor Chris Sansom.
And I'm Casey Jeremus, the Creative Worship Director at Our Savior Lutheran.
All right. Well, here we are back. We took kind of a week off. You had a big show last week, didn't you? Not you. Your bride did.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, we did a Halloween concert, or I shouldn't say she did a Halloween concert. And then, just between everything else, we were pretty much busy every single night with Halloween and all the other different things going on.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
But it's
I talked to you last week and you pretty much told me everything that was going on. I was like, okay, we can miss a week. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's not like we haven't done that before. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just it's hard to fit that in when you have so much on a week like that. But it was a good concert. Everything went really well. It's a quick most people don't do a concert till December, and so to do one in October is it's really fast. So
I actually was thinking about that because it was really fast. I mean, I guess you guys have been around for a couple months now. In terms of school and all that kind of stuff. But it just struck me as really fast.
Yeah. And I mean, I was impressed because last year I don't know, now we're just getting into a bunch of random stuff. But I was just to sum it up, her fifth grade sounded really good, and she gives her fifth graders a challenge. It's called she does band karate, where it's like you
band
try
karate.
Yeah, so you'll play a song, and if you play it at a certain level, you passed it, you get your white belt, and then you get this belt and you move up. And
fun.
And it's, it's for the whole year. That's. And she had two kids who got their black belts before the Halloween concert, which is
gosh.
I mean, they were just hauling trying to get that done. And of course, no one's ever done it before. So they were both really, really motivated to do it. They're both younger siblings of band kids, so I think they were they wanted to show up their older siblings, they could do it faster than them. But it was cool. It was a good concert though. Everything it's fun to kind of hear some different stuff and do, have some kind of creepy Halloweeny music and things like that.
All right. I was kind of wondering because I think somebody asked me and I said, "Oh, I think his wife put on a fall concert."
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't really think about it, but I guess it was close to Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a really fun one. It's some good music.
All right. Well, that's great. Well, I mean, hey, we're glad to be back.
Yes.
Glad to be back. I listened to enough podcasts. We're glad to be back in the studio today.
That's right. Thanks for listening in again. Welcome back.
Oh man. All right. So I was looking for an article or something to share today. And because to be honest with you, I was thinking about all the things that we could talk about, right? I mean, the big thing going on right now in the world is of course, the shutdown. But to be honest, I don't really want to talk about that. And again, it's not that I'm avoiding it. It's a good topic to talk about. What should you do? What shouldn't you do? What are the motives that are behind it? But I think my big trouble is I feel like both politicians, both sides of the aisle, are really trying to swindle everybody, and so I really don't like either side. Well, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just constantly hear from one side that it's the other side's fault, and from the other side it's the other side's fault, and I don't know. It's really hard for me anymore to really take anything seriously. Seriously isn't the right word. I should say it's really hard for me to believe anything that I see online or reported, because you just see, one news source saying it's absolutely this thing 100%. And then another news source says the exact opposite and says 100% that's what it is. And I can't sit there and just believe, oh yeah, it's 100% this, because I don't know. There's too many things going on that
The problem is that the more you look into it, the uglier it looks, and it doesn't look good for either side.
yeah,
Um, it just doesn't. I mean, again, there's a reason I didn't really want to dig too deep into it because again, it just looks ugly. There's just no good way to really look at it,
yeah,
and politics is heavily involved. Unfortunately, some people are going to be hurt by that, and that's a shame. That really is a shame.
yeah.
Um, and so, what I wanted to do is I actually wanted to talk about something a little bit more positive than
Okay.
all that negativity. Let's talk about something positive. I think I've shared here before, but I was actually kind of looking it up, and in fact, like you and I were talking before the show, and I was probably a little distracted. And this is actually why I was trying to read some of the statistics. I've brought it up on the show before that
Hmm.
Gen Z is actually going to church,
Yeah.
and and so I was looking this up, and the Gen Zers. Now, what are the Gen Z? I don't think I was looking all this up. I don't think I looked that up.
Yeah.
So
It is important because I think some
yeah,
people
let's look up the eight. Okay, they were born between 1997 and 2012.
1990. Okay, yeah.
That would be when they were born. So yeah,
1997 and
yeah,
2012. That's not very.
that's what the internet says,
That's not a very
and the internet
long.
is never wrong, Casey. It's
That's, I
never
guess
wrong.
so. I feel like I'm trying to think what millennials, because I'm a millennial,
Yeah.
but I feel like that was a larger time period that you could be born a millennial. 'Cause that's only like 6 years it's
No,
only,
that's
what is it? You said
like 15
1990,
years.
15 years? Wait,
Yeah, like
1990.
1997 to 2012.
Oh, sorry, 2012. Sorry. I was
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's a I was thinking 2004 and I'm like, man, that's not a lot of time at all. No,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah,
No,
that makes
no,
way
no,
more
no,
sense.
2012.
Makes way more sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
you're seeing, I mean, I think we're seeing a lot of people starting to go to church, young people.
yeah. Well, what's really fascinating though is that they are heading to the more conservative churches.
Yeah.
Um, Most of the news articles that you read actually talk about their um, movement into Catholicism, actually,
Yeah.
because that seems to be one of it's the big churches that are growing. And again, I mean the Catholic Church is huge, but
Yes.
um, what was it? I was looking at a statistic, and it said that like in 2022, uh, I think 15% of a certain age group was considered Catholic or considered themselves Catholic. 1 year later, when the Gen Z population popped in, it was like 21%.
Oh wow.
It like jumped 6% in 1 year
Yeah.
as they're kind of just pushing and shoving towards going to churches and more conservative churches. And I think we can really start to think about why is that. Um, because my generation, you and me are, I guess, in the same generation, millennials.
Yeah.
Um, which actually surprised me. I didn't realize you were a millennial.
Yeah. I mean, I was
I
born
thought you were
in
younger.
no, I was born in 91, so I was sort of on the back half of that probably, but I'm a millennial technically.
Technically,
I
you're a millennial.
I'm actually born within the period. It's something like there's some report that says like people born in like 19, it's like 80, like 7 or something to 1993 is this real niche pocket of people who grew up without having the internet all the time, but is young enough that we really kind of know technology a little bit better.
Huh.
I don't know, there's some report about it, how like this little like 5 year period or whatever it was is like these
Yeah.
people really really like can use technology really well because they didn't always have it, but they know it
Hmm.
well enough. I don't know, it was interesting anyway.
That is interesting.
Not to
I mean, I'm
brag
a
about my
millennial, but I'm
year.
among the older. I was born in 1981.
Yeah.
In fact, some groups don't even put me in the millennial category.
Yeah.
So there's that. But I just thought you were young. I mean, you're 10 years younger than me, but I
Yeah,
just thought you were. I just didn't think you were in the millennial age. I thought you were younger than that
yeah,
even.
I know. I'm quite youthful looking, but just
It really is that complexion. Um,
oh yeah, that pale Scottish complexion. Yeah. So
that's what does it.
yeah,
It
that's
really
right.
is. Oh my gosh. Um, but anyway, I think one of the big things, and I've heard this talked about a little bit, but I think one of the big things um, is the fact that this whole gender identity stuff is really backfiring.
Yeah, I think
If
that
that
is.
makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. It does. Whoa, you still there?
Sorry, that's me.
Well,
No, yeah, my cable. I don't know what happened to it, but whatever.
well, as
See
you
if I can get
know, I think that another big thing and why people are going so conservative is that I think we had such a long period. Like, I mean, when I was in youth group in middle school and high school, we watched, like we've talked about, the Numa videos,
Oh
Rob
yeah, the
Bell,
Numa videos.
and to be honest, like I had several people. You know, we had a worship minister and a youth pastor who were really pretty much on par with the emergent church. Now, they didn't. Our church wasn't in the emergent church, but they pretty much agreed with everything that the emergent church like did and said. And
Okay.
I think that what happened is a lot of the people I grew up, you know, we had a pretty large group of kids, probably like 15, like in my grade, that went to that church. A lot of them either don't go to church now or have kind of really like rebuked it. And I think it's because we just didn't have substance. There
Yeah.
wasn't really anything being taught besides feelings. You know, a lot of the Rob Bell stuff is sort of more of a feeling of what I think God is like. And doesn't that
Yeah.
make you feel good that God
Yeah.
would love you and do this for you? And there's not really a lot of scripture that they use to back up what they're saying. And that's really how we were taught. And that's one reason why by the time I graduated high school, I wasn't going to that church anymore, because I was getting really fed up with the fact that we weren't learning anything.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I spent a lot of years not at a specific church. But um, I what's weird is I have a few buddies that have become Orthodox Christian,
Oh
which I
yeah.
thought, why, you know, for those guys especially, not that they were always nice guys, but I never saw them as ever getting religious or going to
Yeah.
church. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm Orthodox Christian now. And I'm like, wow, really? Like, that's like, not, I'm happy for him. It's just, I did not expect them to go all the way to Orthodox Christian, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
that seems like super extreme compared to what they were like throughout their life, but they love it. And I think
Oh,
they
for
just
sure.
love the fasting, and they love all the different traditions, and they just get really, really into it. So I think for me too, I think that I've really come to love being at a Lutheran church because I never had traditions, and I really like having traditions and having, you know, having the candles lit and all these things that we just didn't do anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of, it just gives it a little, not that you have to, I mean, I don't know, I don't want to say it because maybe I'm being blasphemous now, but to a Lutheran, but it's not that you necessarily have to light a candle, but it's just it's putting more thought into it, and having, you know, I don't know, it just adds substance, I think, to it. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I'm rambling
I
now,
would
so you talk.
agree. I would agree, and um, I also think that there's something to like you were bringing up, like the Greek Orthodox or the Orthodox churches,
Yeah,
and I do think that there is something to, that demand of discipline. Um,
yeah.
I think one of those things that I think, dare I say, the emergent church really has to reflect upon. But a lot of these churches have kind of bought into this idea of feelings before facts kind of thing. Um,
Hmm.
they don't they I'm trying to put this in the nicest way I can. A lot of this stuff is very feminine. It just is. It's very, very feminine. Whereas like the church as a whole is not necessarily feminine. I'm not saying that it doesn't have stuff for women. It does, of course, it does. It takes the whole bunch. The church is of many parts,
Well,
but we
that's
seem to have lost somehow that masculine edge that used to also be there. That
right.
church militant, that church where they did have a sense of discipline, where they did have a sense of order. You know, and I think that would be a very very attractive thing, especially for a young man who's kind of coming into the church, going, I need guidance in some way.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot with the emergent church and in emergent church, and there's a lot of churches that are maybe not labeled as emergent church, but
Sure,
I
sure,
don't
yeah.
even know. Do you know if there's really any technically emergent churches still, or are they kind of is that kind of over?
No, I mean, again, it's one of those things like and if you look at like church growth models, um, the quote unquote emergent church is still kind of there. It's morphed, just
Yeah.
like anything.
Well,
Um,
I think with those type of churches, when you just basically say God loves you the way you are, and and kind of just bypassing the repentance part of your religious walk and just saying God loves you no matter what. Isn't that great? Let's party. Let's play some really happy songs. There's no when someone comes to the church and they're struggling with something like
yeah,
addiction, you know, when you just tell someone, hey, you know, you're everything's great. Don't worry about it. You just gotta stop thinking so hard. That doesn't
yeah.
help somebody with an addiction problem.
Well, and it kind of it,
And
it does kind of come down to like the thing we've been talking about with a lot of these things, a lot of these cultural issues that we see around us. Where you basically are given a choice in essence, where you can either tell the person that what you're doing is the right thing and we just need to learn how to accept it, or you can say no, this is the wrong thing, and maybe we need to find ways to help you. And kind of to your alcoholic point, like alcoholism, and it seems to be the whipping boy of examples for me anyway. But it's like, take somebody that struggles with alcoholism. You could go and say like, well, yeah, party it up, man. Like this is the way of life. Let's do this, and just be completely accepting of everything that they're doing. Um, which leads them down to a path of just more alcohol, more drugs, more whatever, and then eventually death in some back alley somewhere, I guess, or
yeah.
liver poisoning. Um, or you can say, hey, this is a real problem. This is a real struggle, and this is not easy to get out of.
Hmm.
And you're not going to want to get out of it, by the way.
Right.
Every time you try, it's going to like pull you back in.
Hmm.
Um, one of my favorite songs for a long time, that was playing on the radio, that Nathan Ratcliffe song, it's called SOB. And but if you listen to the lyrics of the song, I watched an interview with him, and and part of the reason I watched the interview with him, by the way, is because he actually grew up in Herman, Missouri, which is really close to where I grew up.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
So I was like really interested in this guy for a while. I was like, what? Anyway, um, but he wrote that song due to his battle with alcoholism. Like
Yeah.
that's the whole refrain, the SOB, give me a drink, is basically him talking about how he's failed. Now give me another drink,
Yeah.
you know? And so like that's the whole premise of the song. Um, and I just loved that song for a while. I just did. But
Mhm.
I loved it because I knew what it was about.
Right.
Which I thought was really funny because you go to the bars and it's like that song's like played on repeat for a while,
Oh
you
yeah.
know. It's like they like it because the refrain, give me a drink, and it's like, well, that's kind of ironic, really.
Yeah. Yeah. There. It's funny when you hear songs like that because there's a band I really like, and the name of the band is Bill Murray.
Okay.
Now it's one word, but he has a song called "All Gas No Break," and it's about his alcoholism problem,
Yeah.
and it's a really like if you listen to it, you'll probably be dancing. It's like really funky, really like happy go lucky sounding, but it's
Yeah.
all about like like making a bad choice and like how it's not worth it, and so it's funny, but it's also like it's a good song. It's a good, uh, yeah. But yeah, I don't even, not just necessarily alcoholism, but just in general, like when you aren't being given a guideline to better your life, and just everything's kind of like God loves you just the way you are.
Yeah.
Well, yes, of course, yeah, he does. That's true, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be trying to be better. You know, the things in your life. You know, like one of the examples I think of is like adult films and stuff. You know, that people. You know, if you just think, well, God loves me the way I am, it's okay if I'm watching that stuff and doing
Yeah.
that stuff. You don't realize how, when you actually let go of it, how much better your life is. And if you just keep telling people like you don't need to change, you don't need to get away, you know, you're fine,
Yeah.
then they'll never make those changes in their life that actually makes them feel much better, but also makes them realize more and more in their life what God's doing for them, because
Hmm.
it gets your brain away from that stuff and
Yeah.
focus on what matters. So
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think of it. I always use the example of the 2-year-old, like in my sermons and stuff too. I talk about, but kind of putting it in those terms. Like imagine you're a 2-year-old, like, and your God is the adult. Like, the God, you're still going to love your 2-year-old even when they color on your walls. You're
right,
gonna like it that they're coloring on your walls, though.
right, it's still a mess.
Yeah, you're probably still gonna say like, "Yeah, let's not do that ever again. Thank you." Um, you know,
Well, and that's
you're
a
not gonna
good
like it when they eat a bunch of candy, um,
right. Well,
and
and
they're
that's
not gonna like it either. They're gonna have an upset stomach.
yeah, and that's a good metaphor for the fact of, if like my kids trash the playroom, but eventually it gets to a point where you guys can't play in here anymore because you can't even walk in here.
Right?
And if you want to actually be able to play and enjoy your life and do this stuff, we got to clean it up. So
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Well, that was good. That was good. Yeah. So basically, to sum that up, Gen Z seems to be going to church. I'm following this story. That's a
yeah,
journalistic thing, isn't it? I'm following this story.
following the story.
It's
Yeah.
it's yeah, the story just broke in June, but I'm following it. So,
Well, I keep thinking I need to start taking in all these videos, but it's really kind of incredible how many there's a lot of celebrities that are becoming Christians, you know. And it's really interesting to see that, like, have you heard Russell Brand? Do you know Russell Brand?
yeah, I know him,
Like, he's a comedian, and he's kind of known for being raunchy and kind of outlandish, and
and
he
he was
talks.
heavy anti-Christian for a while.
Oh yeah, majorly. And and he would tell jokes about how stupid Christians are and how dumb it is, and
Yeah,
and he started reading the Bible basically to prove that it's wrong, and he completely fell in love with it. Like, completely changed his life, turned it around, and now he's like, now he's doing the complete opposite. He's advocating for people to start going to church and doing all these things, and it's just crazy how he's completely flipped his whole world around.
right?
And there's some, like, it's funny, there's a bunch of compilations online of Joe Rogan, whether people like him or not, but there's all these clips of him from 10 years ago talking about how stupid Christians are and how dumb you have to be to believe in God. It's so stupid. And
Yeah,
then now they're showing clips of him currently where he's like, yeah, you have to believe that the whole universe just appeared out of nothing, for no
yeah,
reason at all. I think I'm going to stick with Jesus. Like, he's going to church now. Like, he started attending church. And so it's really crazy to see how Gen Z's going to church, and all these celebrities are starting to kind of change their tune and start,
yeah,
becoming Christians. And who knows? I think we have very polar opposites. There's some people who are super extreme, still trying to tear down the church, and then there's other people who are turning to the church. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And you and I have talked a little bit about Pete Holmes too, um,
yeah,
and he's a comedian. Now he is agnostic. He
hmm
was, I think, raised Catholic, if I remember correctly. Kind of
yeah,
left the church for a long time, and then he started coming back, and And again, I think he still identifies as agnostic, but he definitely believes that there's something there. Like, you know, and
Yeah.
even on his like comedy show, he'll like, make fun of people that basically believe in nothing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
I think he's going through it a little bit right now. I'm kind of hoping he's gonna see, like he's gonna come back to church,
yeah,
eventually.
yeah.
But right now, I think he's kind of in a place where he's trying to figure that out. But yeah, I mean, there's Shia LaBeouf. He's became Catholic. He started going. I mean, Justin
Oh, I didn't
Bieber's.
know that.
Yeah, he did. Justin Bieber's one of those that he's always kind of been a Christian, but he didn't really live his life that way,
Well,
and
sure.
but he's like completely left Hollywood. He's like, he's been, and there's every once in a while you'll find a video of him singing at like a church and doing
Okay.
stuff. He's kind of turned his life around and he's really become really dedicated himself to his faith. And,
Huh.
yeah, I mean,
I didn't know
it's,
that one. I mean, honestly,
yeah,
you're throwing some names at me that I had no idea about.
yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's just, there's a, I mean, I think I brought it up on the podcast before, but there's a celebrity named Kat Von D, and she's
Yeah.
a famous tattoo artist and kind of was in a lot of drama with different celebrities and all these things. But she uh, started going to church and has kids and now and is married, and just like she's kind of turned her whole life around from
From
being like
being like
in the TMZ magazines or reports and all that stuff to now just kind of living this life where she's a lot happier, it seems.
huh.
So yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's other ones. There's other ones I've seen recently that I probably have forgotten about, but yeah, it's quite
Like
interesting.
again, I'm speechless. I'm fascinated by it. It's a yeah. I mean, again, I knew some of them, but not many. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I need to watch more TV, I guess.
yeah. I need to watch less, but
Oh man. All right. Well, we at that moment. Can we
yeah, sure. You want me to do
ready
mine?
to move on to the next segment?
Yes.
All right. All right. No stupid questions. Here we go. What
Here
do
we
you
go.
got for me?
All right. So I am towards the back end of Exodus right now,
Oh boy.
and we are going through all the I mean, I don't know if you call it regulations, but it's like, you know, this it's like are they building the tabernacle or what I can't even, honestly, my brain is exploding
Okay.
because I feel like I'm trying to figure out what's going on, but it's just they're talking about, I think, the Ark of the Covenant. Are
Okay.
they building the Ark of the Covenant? Are these all the,
There's
like,
definitely some instructions in the backpack there, depending on where you are,
yeah,
for the size and shape of the tabernacle, as
yes.
well as the Ark of the Covenant.
So yeah, my question is, how much of this, as Christians in the modern day and everything that's with the gospel and everything, all these instructions, all these things that I'm going through, is there really anything to take from it? Because for one thing, my head's exploding because it's just like, if they're kind of repeating the same things over and over, like there'll
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
these colors and it'll be made out of these things, and Aaron and his sons will, uh,
Yeah.
minister. What's
Yeah. There's actually a lot in there to get out.
Okay, because I think I'm getting lost in
Yeah, the
in
minutia.
all
Yeah,
of it.
the
Yeah.
small stuff. Yeah, I get it. I get it. So some of the bigger takeaways, and again, this is in terms of the forest and trees. I'm going to show you the forest. You know,
Yeah.
so the trees you can dig into later at another time, but here's the forest, the big picture.
Okay.
The tabernacle. When you look at the construction of the tabernacle, there's a lot of significance. Now, first things first. When you read through the Old Testament, and we've talked about this a little bit before, but it helps to have a refresher. Within the realm of the Old Testament, you are looking at it through the lens of the New Testament, basically the lens of the cross. All right. Just
Yeah.
imagine, visualize it in your mind that like everything in the Old Testament passes through the cross as a almost like a lens of understanding, and then is expanded out into the New Testament church. Okay?
Okay.
Try to do that to the best of your ability. I know it's hard. It's like you're trying to like do visual cues kind of thing. But really think about it like that. So everything in the Old Testament in one way or another points to Christ, and through Christ ultimately points to the New Testament church. In the same way kind of goes through here. So you get this tabernacle. And the tabernacle, the best way to describe it is this like it's like two squares that are kind of combined together to make one rectangle.
Okay.
And I know that's easier said than done mentally. But imagine a rectangle, and imagine you can split it in half, and if you split it in half, it'll form two squares.
Okay.
Okay, you following so far?
Yeah, I'm a visual person, so that makes sense to me.
Yeah. So on the western side, the door is I think the door. I might be losing track. The door might be on the east, but I'm trying to. On the one side, you have where the door would be on the east side. You will have the basically kind of the altar where they sacrificed animals, and you'll have like the fire pit where they kind of kept it in fire, right?
Right.
And that will mark the center of that square.
Okay.
Now, if you go to the other side, you have this kind of like this specialty tent. And the specialty tent has basically two areas. One is called a holy area. And then back in the back of that tent, behind a curtain, is the Holy of Holies. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So you're following so far.
Yeah.
The very center of that square marks the very center of the Holy of Holies. So that should put that into perspective where that sits in the square, basically.
Okay.
Okay? At the point where you would draw a line straight through the middle to make the two squares,
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of that line is where you'd have a water basin.
Okay.
Now, here's the flow, because it does actually have a flow. An animal is sacrificed, and the blood is collected. Some of the blood is collected. The priest would have to wash themselves with the water basin before they can enter the holy area. And only the high priest can enter past that curtain where the Holy of Holies is, which is where the Ark of the Covenant is. And the Ark of the Covenant has, it's got all kinds of stuff on the sides, but the real big deal with the Ark of the Covenant is on the top. On the top, there's these two angels with these massive outstretched wings that touch each other kind of in the middle. And this is that top area of the Ark of the Covenant with those two angel wings kind of sticking out, basically mark what's known as the mercy seat.
Okay.
And the idea is that these two angels are basically looking at the sins of all of humanity. But the priest comes in and he sprinkles the blood on it.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Man. Yeah, right? And so he sprinkles the blood on it. And whenever the angels see the blood, they don't see the sin. They can only see the blood.
Okay.
And thus you can think of it like the angels are God's messengers. God can only see the blood. And so like the blood like kind of covers up, and the mercy seat covers up the sin of humanity.
Okay.
Okay, so that's kind of a general overview of the tabernacle.
Okay.
Now, the Ark of the Covenant represented the physical presence of God. You didn't touch the Ark of the Covenant. You didn't move the Ark of the Covenant. You didn't come near the Ark of the Covenant unless you were cleansed and appropriate, dressed appropriately, ready, worthy to approach it. There's a couple examples of people in the Old Testament who took that lightly and ended up dead. So the Ark of the Covenant was not to be tampered with. Now, here's the other thing. Like, realize like the Ark of the Covenant is like kind of created after it's shown that the people, refused to basically live a life without an idol, in essence.
Oh, okay.
The Baal statue, not the Baal, the golden calf statue.
Oh, okay. See, I never really thought about that. Okay.
Yeah, and then God kind of says, "Fine, here, boom,"
Yeah, if you need something.
But it's a little bit more thought out than that. It's
Okay.
it's God like saying, "Okay, you're not going to work with their system. You're going to work with this system."
Mhm.
And you're going to notice a couple different things. First of all, you're going to notice that there's levels of holy space.
Mm-hmm.
The closer you get to the Ark of the Covenant, the more holy the space is. It just is. Ground is actually viewed. We don't see in modern day America, we don't look at ground as one set of ground is just as good as another set. I mean, obviously we might look at the soil for difference in growing, but like we're not going to say, oh, that's holier ground. The ancient world, not so much. They had holy ground. And even when you look at the temple or the tabernacle, you can see that it's actually very well spaced out and played out within the whole tabernacle setup. That once you get to certain areas, you get into holier and holier ground.
Yeah, yeah.
So, so all of this is at a place. Now, here's where we start looking at things through the lens. If you to take those two squares, in essence, right? The one square where the center of it was where the animals were sacrificed, and the other square where the very center of it was the Holy of Holies, the physical presence of God, and you laid those two on top of each other, you would in essence have something that ultimately had sacrifice in the presence of God.
Okay.
When you start pushing that through the lens of the cross,
mm-hmm.
and then you push that out into the early church, or actually the Christian church as a whole, one of the things that you'll see is you'll begin to understand why we set up Holy Communion the way we do. Because you see, Holy Communion is actually a combination of both halves of the tabernacle. You have Christ who sacrificed himself. Now, it's not like he's re-sacrificing himself. It's the one sacrifice once for all. But it's also the physical presence.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So Christ is truly present in the sacrament, in, with, and under the bread and wine, as we sometimes say. But he's actually present, and his sacrifice is also there. And so you actually have both parts of the tabernacle right there. And that's why if you ever look at churches, our church included, St. John's, San Prairie, I can't remember Washington, so I can't help you there. But you'll notice there's all these steps to get to the altar.
Yeah, we do.
All those steps are different grades of holiness. The ancient church recognized the difference in holy space.
Gotcha.
And all of those are actually to kind of represent those holy spaces as you were to approach the altar, but not just the altar, but more specifically, Christ's actual presence in Holy Communion.
And is that why? See, I've never even asked this, but that's why you bow when you walk up to it?
Yeah, I mean that is definitely a reason, right? It's reserved space, it's holy space. So yeah, there's a truth in that. Yeah, it is specialized space, if you will.
Okay.
But yeah. But also realize this is the significance of the priesthood of all believers. See, a lot of times when Lutherans talk about the priesthood of all believers, it gets muddied down to this whole everybody's a pastor kind of thing. And that's not what that text or verses are talking about at all.
Yeah.
What's actually being referenced there is the fact that because Jesus went into the temple, as it says in the book of Hebrews, Jesus basically became the Holy of Holies. He went into the ultimate sacrifice once for all. And because of that, and because we have been cleansed of that, we as priests can all approach the holy space, or the Holy of Holies.
Mm-hmm.
Or to say it another way, as children of God, we are a royal, we are a holy priesthood, and because of that, we can receive Christ's true body and blood.
Yeah,
without fear of the retribution that might happen.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have to be a little cautious about that, because again, this is where 1 Corinthians 11 comes in, 10 and 11. Where Paul talks about how some have eaten and drinking in an unworthy manner and have fallen asleep and died.
Yeah.
So we don't want to. We can't just do whatever we want. We got to tread lightly here. Make sure that we are doing it in a worthy way, which means that we are repentant.
Yeah.
Not sinless. That's not what it means to be worthy. What it means to be worthy is to be repentant of our sins.
Right.
But you see, this is where all those specifications come in.
Right.
Because what I just did visually, and again, it's the whole forest. you can get into the nitty gritty and look at the trees, so to speak, and certainly you're going to get a lot more out of it the more detailed you look. But what I just did was gave you an eagle's eye view of the tabernacle and the significance that it plays as you read it through that lens of Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, because now you say Jesus. I mean, Jesus was the sacrifice, and he was. Yeah, it's okay. I haven't thought about that really. No. I know I have thought about the fact that obviously he's the ultimate sacrifice. I mean, I know that, but everything I've been surprised with. I mean, I brought this up a couple weeks ago, is how many parallels there are to Jesus, and how kind of like each person in the Bible, almost maybe not every single, but almost all of them I've read so far, there's almost like an element of their story that is sort of reflective of Jesus's walk.
Oh, absolutely.
And so now that with the tabernacle stuff and all that, I've been kind of, again, I've had a little bit of a hard time. I think probably just because of the way my brain is, but it's just kind of like, oh man, I'm zoning. I can't keep up with this. But yeah, hearing how once again it's really a parallel to Jesus and his being the sacrifice and everything, that does help me be able to listen to it and look at it with that idea in mind.
Yeah. Well, and you have young kids, but honestly, would I take a tape measure out, like start reading some of those parameters and start taking a tape measure out and actually kind of looking at it on how big it was. You have to figure out what a cubit is and yada, yada, yada.
I was just going to say, I left my cubit tape measure at, somewhere else.
Yeah. I think, what do they say a cubit is? But like 18 inches or something like that.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
You get the idea. Like find a unit, but like measure it out. Do it with your kids. It's a good time. Measure some of those things out. Because again, I think you and me, from a brain standpoint, are very similar. Like you're visual, but yet at the same time, like there's going to be something about actually taking those numbers and doing something with them. Just numbers on a page. Like, you wouldn't read blueprints for a bench that you're never going to build.
Yeah, I mean, I might read blueprints for a bench that I'm thinking I'm going to build.
Yeah, but I mean, imagine listening to that on an Audible version, right? Like,
that'd be very hard.
Vacuuming your carpet, and some guy's going, "Well, this is 3 foot 2 inch by 4 foot and 5 inch, and you want to make sure you go a 1/4 inch over." And it's like, by the time you're done, you're gonna be like, "What was that about?"
Yeah,
same difference. So get your tape measure out, measure some of these things out. You'll be fascinated.
That's a great point. I never thought about it. This is building plans.
Yeah,
and we're looking at it just in these paragraphs, but we need blueprint, something written out that shows us how it's supposed to be made. That's very interesting.
Oh yeah, you do that, you'll get a whole different perspective. I mean, trust me, like, you're not the first one to have this problem. They got all kinds of things. You can buy like this Lego set of the tabernacle now.
What?
Yeah, I thought about buying it, but it's like $130, so I'm not gonna buy it.
Oh. Anybody got one of those? Anybody else with a Thrivent card?
Yeah, that's right. Thrivent cards. Come on.
Thrivent. Sorry, Thrivent. Well, you know what? I need to build a shed. Blocks. I need to build a shed. Now, I don't know exactly how big this thing is, but maybe I just need to build it with those.
Yeah, build a shed in the size of the Holy and Holy of Holies.
Yeah. It's like, I need this. I need some OSB and 8 cubits, please.
Oh my gosh! Absolutely. Oh man.
I'll have to look up after this if there's any plans. I'm sure someone's got to have someone. I mean, there's for sure millions of Catholics out there, not let alone all the rest of us, and there's got to be someone who's made this as a blueprint. There's got to be somebody out there.
Oh, for sure there are.
Yeah,
guaranteed. So, oh no, that's good. That's a good question though. That's a again, those are solid points because again, everybody that's where a lot of people get lost. And Leviticus.
Yeah,
Leviticus is
yeah.
where people get like
Oh
give
crap,
up.
that's next.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Take lots of break. Intersperse like the Gospel of Matthew or something throughout it.
Yeah, I feel like should I have read the Gospels first and then gone back?
Honestly, there's a lot of people that have a lot of different theories.
Yeah,
I don't the Exodus story, Genesis stories. I don't know if I don't know if you need to per se. I think the benefit though does come in with your readability, like your ability to keep going. Because again, like once you get to Leviticus, you got a lot of laws, and trying to make sense out of those and tease all those out is challenging.
yeah,
Which is why I'm like, yeah, read a chapter of Leviticus and then read a chapter of Matthew.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
like intersperse it a little bit.
yeah. Well,
So
thanks. Yeah, that'll help me out a lot. I mean, because yeah, some of that stuff, I'm amazed since I'm going through the Bible for the first time, like really clearly going through it.
yeah,
Um, I'm amazed at like how many of these things, I've never. It's not like there's been a reading at. I mean, I don't think they ever use the readings of
yeah.
like this portion of the Bible and just sit there and tell you, well, this week we're going to learn about this part of the tabernacle, how to build it.
Well, I mean, yeah. Could you imagine like you're sitting in church, it's in our Old Testament reading today, and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
and go 30 cubits by 35 cubits and make it 20 cubits tall, and
Yeah,
then like,
yeah,
like everybody be like, okay, that's cool.
yeah, yeah. This is interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, thank you. I think we probably need to move on though, because we're kind of getting
yeah. We're getting
eating up our time here.
our lessons are getting longer.
Yeah.
Um,
People are like, man, I wish they had that, limited amount of recording time.
yeah, right.
They got through things so much faster.
Maybe, maybe we'll see.
Maybe.
Maybe. Uh, all right. So we'll go ahead and move on to our next segment.
Welcome now to Saints in the Shadows. Hear the stories of the saints, learn about things you never knew. See if you can figure out who the saint is before the end.
All right. Sulpicius was a good man. He wrote the history that no one else would in a time when no one else did. He had been told of a warlike man who had quite the story. And so Mr. Sulpicius Severus, sorry, took it upon himself to find him. And so he did. But when he got there, he could hardly believe his eyes. Sulpicius looked at the man laying in bed and wondered to himself. He wondered about his name, Warlike. How could such a gentle soul be given such a harsh name? In the earlier years of his life, he had been called a coward, not because he couldn't fight, but because he wouldn't fight. Romans did not take too kindly to that. There were so many stories, but which ones should he, Sulpicius, write about in his history? There was a time that a group cut down their sacred pine and made an agreement with Mr. Warlike that as long as he stood in the path of which it would fall, they would cut it down. And he did. He stood there, didn't even flinch, as the great tree fell right beside him, but not on him. Supposedly, he had healed people. One story had him even raising someone from the dead. And who knows, when Sulpicius interviewed him, the man seemed to truly believe that's what happened. The man's life seemed to be one crazy story after the next. And it always seemed to start with the idea of him trying to be peaceful and to live a quiet life. At one point, he was even exiled onto an island, almost alone. There were a few others, but not many. But even that was short-lived, and eventually he came back. Having grown up in Rome, present-day Italy, this warlike man started off as a warlike boy in the military, and his parents absolutely loved that he had joined or was in the Roman military, in the cavalry, and that he was doing well. But he eventually became a Christian and disagreed with the Roman beliefs on war. And so, while it wasn't illegal to be a Christian, his parents really hated that he had become one. And he studied, and he decided to live a quiet life, but that is not what he got, as you can already tell. Sulpicius tried very hard to think about all of these things, all of these stories, all of these events as he looked at the old man that lay before him. What a life. What a journey. And to think that, at least for Sulpicius, it all started with a story, an event, and a dream. So powerful was this event, this dream, that it changed the world, and, well, it changed even our vocabulary. There is a word that came out of this that we still use, even to this day, though it has lost some of its meaning over the years. All of this starts on a cold night, as this warlike boy was on patrol. In the military, you only paid for half the cost of your stuff. So if a sword cost $50, as a soldier who needed to carry the sword, you paid $25. However, that night he saw a man on the streets with hardly enough clothes to cover his body, not to mention keeping the cold, freezing air away. He would freeze to death if no one did anything. And so this warlike boy took off his cloak, and he cut it in half, and he gave his half to the man and kept the other half, for he gave the man his half, the half he had paid for. Later that night, this warlike boy, this Martin, as it is in Latin, had a dream about Jesus wrapped in the cloak that he gave to the old man. He was the old man, talking about how Martin had given the cloak, to him. Martin embraced his Christianity, and he was baptized. In France, and this is where it gets really fascinating, in France, they had an area, they actually saved half of the cloak, the half that he saved. They saved that cloak. And so influential that they actually built kind of a building around it, and people would even sing, in the building as a kind of a worshipful thing where they would keep this cloak. And they were known as the capellas, as in acapellas. Because you see, the word there for capella meant cloak in France. And then on top of that, the French word for that becomes our root word for chaplain, our chapel. And when they had a person who would actually carry the cloak, they would call that person a chaplain, because the French word for cloak, a cloak carrier, is what the word actually meant. And it all comes about because of Saint Martin and his cloak. So there you have it. There's our mystery. We celebrate Saint Martin on November 11th. And
Oh.
wondering, yes, this is the Saint Martin that Martin Luther is named after, because Martin Luther was baptized on November 11th.
Oh.
Or yeah, I think it was I think he was baptized. Now it got me confused. Hold on, I got to check this out. I think I'm getting confused with whether he was born or baptized on that day. And I have no mouse. So anyway, but no, he was yeah, he was born on November 10th in 1483.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so he took the name Martin. He took the name Martin.
Very nice. You there?
Yeah, I am. I'm sorry. I'm still looking this up. This is I can't I got so confused there for a second. Oh man. Okay. Yeah, so he was baptized the day after he was born. So he was born on November 10th and he was baptized on November 11th of 1483, and they gave him the name of Martin because it was on St. Martin's Day.
Oh, gotcha.
Sorry, had to do a little external research there for a second. Now, in terms of meals that go with this,
yeah.
So apparently, and again, as I was reading and doing my research, it really was a fascinating story of a man who just wanted to be left alone. You know what I mean? Like, like this guy over and over again was kind of like, leave me alone, let me just be a peaceful man. And like, you know, and they ended up, I think they tried to make him a bishop once. They sent him out on missionary work, you know, because he was also fearless. You know, again, he didn't want to fight, but he's very effective at it when he wanted to be.
Right.
But anyway, so along with that, though, there's this story that he was kind of hiding from people, and a bunch of geese gave his position away. And so later they had geese for dinner. And so anyway, so the meal of the day is basically cooked goose.
Yes.
And then on top of that, this is actually where it gets its namesake, is a martini. It has Martin in the name, but it's actually because of the locale. But the locale got its name from St. Martin. So anyway, now if you want to do double duty, you can use Grey Goose vodka.
Oh wow!
For your martini, and then you'll have a goose for dinner and goose for a drink. So anyway,
hey, that sounds pretty good. I've never had cooked goose.
I really can't remember. I don't think I have either.
Yeah. I'd love to try it.
Well, now I feel like on November 11th, so that's Tuesday. That's
Tuesday.
Yeah, that's right. It's not. But I felt like I had to get it in, right? Because next week it'd be too late.
Yeah. Hey, get it out in time.
That's right. So that's right. We have St. Martin of Tours, and that's where he was stationed for quite a while. So
very nice.
So there you go. All right. And that means.
And so it ends. The light shines in the shadow. And now you know more about the story of one of the saints of history.
Very nice.
There you go. And then to quickly turn that and go into our next category.
And it's time for Lectionary Loop and our look at the upcoming lectionary texts.
All right. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. We're getting towards the end of the church year, and the end of the church year is kind of known for starting to direct us towards the second coming of Christ. But that's not where we're quite at yet. We're getting there, but we're not quite there yet. And so we have three texts. And what's really fascinating about these three texts, now I don't know, I didn't look up what the lectionary committee seems to put together. But one of the things that I will say is this. The thing seems to be, the text seemed to be that God is the God of the living. And so we actually have Exodus 3, the burning bush narrative.
Yes.
And then we have 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, which talks about the coming of Christ. Now that one's kind of expected because again, it's getting towards the last Sundays of the church year, and all the focus seems to be directed on the fact that Christ is coming back. And then the last text, the one that I'll actually be preaching on Sunday, the Gospel of Luke chapter 20, verses 27 to 40, is this really kind of unique passage where the Sadducees start talking to Jesus. Now, what's interesting about the Sadducees is that the Sadducees do not believe in the resurrection of the dead. They just don't. And so they ask him this question, seems to be like a gotcha question, about a man who ultimately he gets married, his wife dies, he gets married again, or no, it's the woman, her husband dies and she gets married again, and so on and so forth. And so the question is like, okay, well, which one is her husband? Whenever they're resurrected, she's been married a bunch. And basically Jesus says, do you not know that you will neither be given in marriage or be in marriage like in the resurrection? Because the God of Jacob is the God of the living and not of the dead. And so it seems to be that implicit, God is the God of the living. And again, it's kind of a theme that kind of flows, in my opinion anyway, flows through all of them. God is the God of salvation. He is the God of, and again, this also, even this text in the Luke passage, we're talking about the resurrection of the dead. We're talking about the second coming of Christ. And so again, it does kind of have that flow to it because again, we're in the close to the last Sunday of the church year. So it's going to continue to have that kind of flow as we get closer. But I really like the looking at it, not just in those terms, but also in terms of, the presence of God among the living, because again, God is the God of the living. And so anyway, that's my 2 cents. So, there you go.
Yeah, exciting.
All right. Well, I mean, again, that's a great little summary of the lectionary loop. And now we'll move on. Are you ready for the last segment?
I'm ready.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe I guess I'm ready.
To our last segment, probably.
All right. Are we ready for church chatter? Oh, we got it.
Yep, that's right. We got it.
We got
it. We had I'll be honest, it's a bummer that I didn't get to announce this last week, but we had an excellent turnout for the Toy and Hobby Show. The Toy and Hobby Show really went well this year. It went well last year, but it really went well this year. Lots of great stuff down there. I was able to go walk down and walk through and see a lot of stuff, but I don't think I really got to see all of it. I think that there was just so much. I will admit that I got stopped at the brat table a little bit. And yes, you heard that correct. In the morning, there was a brat table. I shouldn't say I got stopped there. I should say that I made a willing decision to pause at the brat table.
Hey, if there's brats available, I'd be there too.
That's fair.
It's good stuff.
But I honestly, even the things I saw some Pokemon cards. I saw some baseball cards. I got to see a stone collection. It was really quite impressive. Some paper cutouts I got to see. Like it was neat. Saw some original documentation. Saw some old like police material, paraphernalia, detective stuff. It was an awesome setup. Got to see a bunch of teapots too.
Nice
tea kettles and the like. So it was really a great thing. Now we don't have anything this coming Sunday, but the Sunday after that on November 16th is our LWML Sunday. We're celebrating it a little bit later than normal, but it's still happening. So we still have our LWML, that's Lutheran Women's Missionary League. And so that's one of the major women's groups involved in our church. And it's a combination of a couple of them actually. And they're going to kind of take over parts of the service. It's going to be really cool. Look forward to it every single year.
Yeah, wear purple.
That's right. You got to wear purple. I even got an LWML tie.
Yeah, you do.
Very
nice.
Yeah. So anyway, so we got LWML coming up. after that, and then after that, to be honest with you, the next big thing we have, obviously, we have Thanksgiving Eve service, which takes place the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. But then after that, we have Hanging of the Greens on November 30th.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a rocking good time. We're gonna be doing it right after the second service, which I know November 30th is technically the first Sunday in Advent. But even so, we're gonna get together after church on Sunday morning, November 30th, and we're gonna eat some lunch. We're gonna put on some Christmas music, and we're gonna decorate that church.
That's right. And I have to say,
yes,
it's very important to acknowledge when you're supposed to actually put up your Christmas decorations.
Yes, that is
That being
correct.
said, my Christmas tree is up
Oh my gosh.
already. So,
I think
take that.
I'm not as
will.
concerned about you putting it up as when you take it down.
Oh yeah.
Here's
mean-
okay, so here's the thing. And I'm gonna get on my soapbox here a little bit.
Go for it.
I'm gonna get on my soapbox. Everybody is so darn quick to put up Christmas stuff and everything else. And you know what? More power to you. If that makes you happy, you know what? Do it. But here's what bugs me. You all take your decorations down like the second Christmas is over.
Yeah.
Buddy,
That's not
Christmas
Christian.
lasts 12 days.
Exactly.
Not 2. Right?
Yeah.
You keep that stuff up until Epiphany.
Yeah, and you can easily double that if you want.
Yeah.
24 days. Come on.
Yeah, you can because Epiphany is kind of like this manifestation, but it has a lot of ties with Christmas too. So you know what? Just keep on it up.
Yeah.
Run it through Epiphany. It's okay, everybody.
Enjoy the season. That's what that's what I'm trying to say here. I don't get it. I honestly, I don't understand people who take their decorations down the day after Christmas.
It's crazy.
I'm like, that's nuts. First of all, it's so hectic.
Yeah.
Christmas in general is so hectic, and seeing family or doing all sorts of stuff that I just can't believe anybody really is like, Christmas is over. Bam. Let's start packing everything up. I just feel like that seems nuts to me.
You keep that stuff out for a little bit.
Yeah. And you may be thinking, hey, this guy already has his Christmas tree up. It's November 5th, but I mean, I'm just saying, have a little Christmas cheer, a little Christmas joy, listen to some Christmas music, get out, just enjoy yourself.
Absolutely. All right. So what do you got rocking and rolling over that way?
We had a pastor come check out the church this past week. So, I don't really have any sort of idea of anything that really, any insight as far as what happened or how it went. But we're just remaining hopeful, and we'll see.
Absolutely.
And I was telling you before, we just celebrated our 60th. The church celebrated its 60th anniversary.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah, which is really great. And so we did a combined service, and it's the first time. I mean, it's the first time I've ever done something where we did. It was both services. So we had anybody from the first service who wanted to come sing. So we had like 12 people, I think, singing. Yeah. And it was really nice. It was really nice to have everybody there, because we usually have about 6 singers or so, but to actually have some people from first service, and some of them have never even really seen, some of them have never been to second service since I've been there. So it was nice to get to meet some of those people, really. And it was nice. It was a really nice time to get to actually be one church, because oftentimes traditional and contemporary services are kind of split, and so it was nice to be one whole congregation for just like one service. So that was really nice.
That is nice. It is. I like that.
Yeah. But besides that, I mean, we're just getting, I'm getting geared up for, the Advent season, and trying to get all my music in order for that. But besides that, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have some special music actually here at St. John's coming up on Sunday. I believe the choir's singing a piece in the early service, and then in the late service is going to be the choir and the kids singing. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, it'll be pretty cool.
Yeah,
So,
that'll be fun.
yeah, it's going to be a great time. So anyway, well, all right. Well, I think that's all I have. So is
Yeah,
that all you have?
that's all I got.
It's all you got. It's all I got. All right. Well, hey everybody, thank you for listening. Thanks for tuning in. God's blessings to you. Bye.
Bye.